What's up? What's going on? Welcome to Ask a Realtor. Your host, Joseph Ausmus, EXP Realty, here to guide you through another fun session tonight. Let's get some tunes going on while people get logged on, and we'll get started here momentarily. All right. Welcome to Ask a Realtor. Chat with me live here, and we'll get to all your questions as we go. If I don't get questions, I've got a preloaded topic tonight, talking about buying new construction homes. Let's get it. All right, all right. Welcome in, welcome in. What is good? We're talking about buying new construction homes here. I am a bit of an expert here. I've done a few of these transactions as well as written an ebook about that. So I will throw up a link in the chat if you're interested in checking out the ebook and downloading it. We have audio book format as well as the written word. So whatever your learning style is, how you want to absorb that material, I got you. But for now, we're just going to kind of chat about it and overall experiences, things to look for, things to be mindful of if you're looking at new construction. So let's talk from a high level perspective, pros and cons with new construction. When you are working with a builder, an immediate pro would be that you're not going to have to deal with repairs, right? It's a brand new home. Um, Everything in there is freshly constructed for you. You'll be the first family or first person to own that property, to use everything in that property. So right away, there's a big appeal for people there. Another big draw for new homes is energy efficiency. Building codes have consistently gotten more strict on the energy efficiency ratings of new construction in order to actually get those permits to build and get them signed off on by the county, by the building department. Those buildings have to meet certain energy efficiency criteria. What a lot of builders do is they're sealing up the entire building, um, sealing it up, and then pressurizing the system and looking for leaks. And they can give it what's called a HERS rating, HERS. And you can definitely find more about that online, or what exactly that entails. But that's basically going to be their measure, the criteria for which they determine if it's going to have a good HERS rating. It's going to be an energy efficient home. You can get the building department to sign off on it. Life is good. Keep on moving. Permit can be closed out on that one, right? Whereas when you're buying a pre-existing home that was built with older building codes, well, those things obviously were grandfathered in, or at that time the building codes were much less or much more lenient about energy efficiency. And to be, frank, we just didn't have the energy. People didn't really care about it as much then. We didn't have the technology that we do now. So that is a big draw for new builds. And a third one would be obtaining a new build versus an existing home. The process looks different. With a new build, and we'll get into this here a little bit more, but with a new build, you're not in a bidding war with other buyers for that property. There's certainly competition. There may be a waiting list depending on the builder and the market and the community, but Um, they're not collecting several bids on that same property for the most part. I've seen it, but for the most part, they're not doing that. Rather, it's the first person to bring in the deposit and to sign the contract is going to be the person that gets that lot to build that home on, right? And and I want to break this down too because there's different types of builders as well. The ones that I'm speaking about are going to be tract home builders. They'll buy out a community, a subdivision, and build it out and sell individual lots within that community. A little different when you work with a semi-custom or fully custom builder, and you're finding one particular lot to place that on. That's a little bit of a different process. We can dive into that one on a different video. I'm making this to be a little bit more of a mainstream topic here. Most people that are working with a builder are probably going to go with these tract homes in these communities. So that's what I'm going to focus on today. But with an existing home, you're writing an offer on it. You may offer more or less, or the asking price. Those are kind of your options there. Whereas with the builder, you're paying more of the sticker price that they want for the home. And we'll break down what that sticker price entails here next. Awesome. So, any questions so far? Drop them in the chat for me. Let me know how we're doing. If you want to take us completely off topic and talk about something else, I'm cool with that. We can roll with it. Whatever's good out there, just throw me a thumbs up, or otherwise, I'm just going to keep rolling on through here. All right. Awesome. Cool. All right. First thing people ask me about, actually, I got this question today from a lady. She said, I'm looking at buying a home up there, but I'm not going to use a realtor. I'm just going to go to a builder. So, oh, okay. Got it. So you're interested in a new construction home. Let me ask you, why would you need a realtor if the builder already has a sales rep in their sales center there? They can answer your questions, show you different models, hand you current inventory lists, brochures, even sit down with you to build out a home with an available lot, your chosen model, and even some construction options to give you that total price. So if they have this person already dedicated to handle all that for you, what do you need a realtor for? Well, in my ebook, If You Build It, which again, I'm going to link in the description here for you, it becomes evident when you ask this question: who does that salesperson work for? You or the builder? That's right. They work for the builder. And that is a big consideration when you walk into that sales center, is that they are going to negotiate price and terms that are acceptable and agreeable to their boss, to the builder, to the seller, not to you, the buyer. In fact, in the state of Colorado, we have state approved contracts that we use for buying and selling real estate. And those contracts, just the boilerplate language that was already written into them by our state, or rather the Colorado Association of Realtors legal team, that language written in there is very protective of home buyers, not so much of sellers, very protective of home buyers. Well, when you're working with a builder, they have a contract that is written by their attorneys that they hired to write for them, is not state approved. And the opposite is true. It's very protective of the seller, that builder. You may have several opportunities within a resale transaction, an existing home, to actually several contingencies that you can actually walk away from that deal if everything's not coming out the way that it's supposed to. For example, inspection, for example, appraisal. Those would be situations on a normal state approved contract where you have opportunities to renegotiate and or cancel as the buyer. But if you're working with the builder on their state approved or their not state approved contract written by their attorneys, guess what? You're going to find that there's far less opportunities for you to negotiate with them, to cancel, and your earnest money may be in jeopardy if you do. Whereas your earnest money may be protected on a resale. So, just something to consider. Not telling you that to scare you away from working with a builder, but it makes a lot of sense to have a realtor working for you when you are buying a new construction home, especially to help you navigate that paperwork, right? Awesome. Um, I recommend to bring them with you when you go visit the sales center. If you can't do that, bring their card with you. The builder will want you to register with your contact information on that very first visit, and they'll want your agent's information. Sometimes you may feel pressure to reserve a home right away. Perhaps the builder is raising the prices tomorrow, or a buyer is coming in shortly to put down a deposit. Just take a breath and call your realtor. Their advice is valuable through the whole process, and that's what we're here for. We got you, right? Perfect. All right. So I promised you we would talk about builder pricing. So when you see, those big bright signs along the highway, and there's a home listed from the 600s, say, what does that exactly mean? Um, well, that is the base price for their different models. With most builders, that's what they are referring to with those prices. Usually the smallest, least expensive models, because that's a draw to get you in. If the builders down the street are from the 700s, these guys are from the 600s, there's their draw, right? Well, you may come to find out that for the same home you can get down there for the 700s, guess what? It's going to be the 700s with this builder in this community too. They just happen to have a different model that's a little bit cheaper. And so that's why they are advertising as such, right? So base price doesn't include any other costs or upgrades. Um, what you also will see added and tacked on to that base price with a lot of builders will be lot premiums. Some builders do charge it on every lot, while others may only charge it on those lots they consider better than others. A lot that backs up to a greenbelt park or is on a cul-de-sac versus a through street, for example. And those might have a higher lot premium. So make sure that you ask about the lot premiums. If you've got that super sweet corner lot, caddy corner from the park, that's something you're going to want to know about, right? Next category would be construction options. And some builders may offer like a loft option versus a bedroom on the upper floor. They may offer a stamped concrete patio or additional windows in the master suite as some common construction options. Not all builders can or will offer these. It really depends. But these option costs can add up very quickly. But consider this: if it's really something that you want in that home, it's probably going to be cheaper to do during construction than as a remodel 5 years down the road. So if you're thinking that you might need that fourth bedroom more than you'll need a loft, it's probably going to be more cost effective to do it now. Cool. All right, Samantha, we're the best new build companies in Colorado that you know of. Fantastic question. Thanks for coming at me. I can tell you the ones that I've worked with personally and that I've had great experience with. I've worked with Classic Homes. I've worked with Oakwood Homes. Both of them were pretty good. I've worked with Richmond American Homes. Also had a good experience with them. However, I circled back about a year later to that same buyer on the Richmond American. He said that he had quite a few issues with them, and they did take care of the issues, but he needed to stay on top of them. So consider that when you're looking in the new build market as well. They are going to be more willing to bend over backwards to make sure that you're happy and satisfied in the beginning stages while they're building it, before they get your money. Once they get your money at closing, then their motivation to do things for you drops off dramatically. So make sure that if they offer a good warranty, If it's through a warranty company, that's great. If it's an in-house warranty situation, monitor those things in the house. You may consider doing another home inspection. Say it's a 12-month warranty, do the 11-month inspection. Even if there's nothing wrong, just do it. Hire the inspector, have them come out and take a look and do an inspection for you, because invariably they're going to find things. They're going to find something, even if it's minor. And if it's covered under the warranty, that's their obligation to take care of it. Now you have a punch list that you can turn in to the builder's warranty department and say, okay, I want this, this, and this done. I'm still under warranty. And that advice would be across the board, regardless of what builder. I've worked with a smaller builder down in the Pueblo and Pueblo West area called Premier Homes. They're also very good. So it really depends on what market that you're looking at too, Samantha. But there's good builders in each place. Definitely check out reviews, ask around about particular builders, and ask industry professionals. So cool. Really appreciate you throwing that in the chat. Thank you. And then kind of circling back to what can add on to that base price would be, of course, your cosmetic options. These are the fun ones. It's probably the most exciting part, is picking your colors of your cabinets, picking out light fixtures, picking out flooring, or any other options that the builder gives you. But what I recommend is to set a design center budget and stick to it, because those costs will add up really fast and you don't want it to sneak up on you. So that would be how I handle that piece. All right. Next topic here within the whole buying a new build is, can you negotiate with the builder? You're probably familiar with in existing home sales where the seller puts out a list price and you're going to make an offer based on what you think is fair there and based on competition on the home. More often than not, here in Denver Metro 2022, we're seeing crazy competition on a lot of homes. So they're going very fast, usually opening weekend, well above their asking price. So with a builder, do you have room for negotiation? Well, consider this. The craziness of that resale market, the existing home market, is driving a lot of folks towards these builders. They like the appeal of not having to deal with these bidding wars. So they have a lot of business. They don't have a lot of reasons to negotiate with people on price. But if you get into a new build, though, you may find builders are more receptive to negotiating on things like design center credits or credits towards closing costs, rather than their base price. The base price is really market driven, cost of materials driven, labor costs driven. So probably won't have a ton of luck there. But let's say instead of asking for a $10,000 reduction on base price, you can have your realtor ask for a $10,000 credit towards closing costs or the design center. Remember, they may say no, but it never hurts to ask, right? And it's pretty dependent on how popular the product is. If they're selling them just as fast as they can build them, they don't really have to make concessions. So you might strike out, but just know that it's an option that you can at least ask about. Something to consider is if you run into what's called an inventory home, heard it called a spec home as well. And that's a home where the builder has it built out or partially built out, but it's not sold yet. Those homes, you probably might have better luck negotiating with that builder on, again, design credits, closing costs. Here's the reason. Builders in the business of building homes, but not selling homes. They definitely don't want to be sitting on a completed home and paying holding costs on that, taxes and insurance. They want to get that thing sold as quickly as possible. So if you're working on an inventory home, let's say, and the most common scenario would be a buyer no longer qualifies, so they terminated. They were building this home for someone else. So you're coming in the 11th hour and buying that home. They're probably going to be a little bit more willing to work a deal with you in that instance. Um, Again, you know, subject to, do they have 4 or 5 other people lined up behind you that are also interested? But if you're first in line, maybe, ask the question, see what's possible. Um, Keep in mind though, with that, you don't really get as many choices. If they're farther along in the build process, construction options are pretty much out. You don't get to add those windows or anything like this at this point. Um, Colors, flooring, probably been chosen. So there's probably very few, design choices that you would have on that spec home. But it's a chance to get in on a new build, energy efficient home without having to wait 9, 10 months from a dirt start, right? So pros and cons to everything. All right, let's see here. Is there a difference in closing costs when going with a new build versus going with a resale? That is also a fantastic question. What I find is that the most builders have a preferred lender, if not an in-house lender, that they will give you a higher credit to use that lender. They'll give you incentives to use their lender versus an outside lender. And they do this for a couple of reasons. One, they trust their lender. If it's a lender partner or if it's them, then of course, they want the business for themselves anyways. But even if it's just a preferred lender, they know how that lender works. They have that working relationship. They know when this lender says someone's pre-approved, they're good. So it minimizes their risk of fallout of people canceling on contracts, right? When they're at least pre-approved with their preferred lender. So they throw out those incentives there. But I've had my trusted lender partners look at some of those files. And the interesting thing is that those lenders are actually adding that back in other places in the loan, to where it's not really, when all apples to apples, all things considered, it's not really a huge financial incentive for that buyer to take that loan. Sure, they're bringing less closing costs, but they might have like higher loan points or something like that, for example, or a different rate. So always a good idea, even if you are going to take advantage of the incentives that a builder's preferred lender is providing, to have them have another lender just take a look at the file and give you a second opinion on it, because you could be surprised how creative they get with how they write that loan up in order to be able to offer that to you. I hope that answered your question, Samantha. And then as far as a new build, the biggest difference that I see would be taxes. I see taxes are going to be significantly higher in these newer communities than they are on older communities and existing homes. Like it could be as high as like a 1% purchase price of the home difference for an annual tax rate. You're talking like, a 0.3% tax rate over here on a home built in the 70s, what have you. And then maybe a 1.2 or a 1.3 on this brand new 2022 new build. So that affects your purchase power right there, is the tax rate. So that's something to watch out for as well. Awesome. I appreciate the dialogue here. Thanks for jumping in on the chat with me. Appreciate that. And yeah, so closing costs. Let's see here. What do I want to say? Did we kind of already chat about all this? I'm rolling through my ebook to kind of keep me on task here. Yes, this is exactly what we just talked about. So I'm going to go ahead and move right along to home inspection. And I don't need a home inspection since it's brand new, right? Well, I have seen with my own eyes a brand new build. And this was, again, with a client of mine. It was that Richmond American that I told you about. While we were at the home inspection, it was during the home inspection that we discovered it, and I think it happened day of or maybe the day right before, but there was a leak. They had the washer and dryer of the laundry facility was on the upper level with same level as the master bedroom, which is a very common thing that builders are doing now. And they had a leak up there, and it got out into the flooring, got out into the trim, the drywall. So, we came through and we saw the aftermath of that. They had, it wasn't active, it wasn't spurting out while we were there, but this is a brand new home, and we had to, go ahead and turn that in. And I think the builder was probably going to take care of it anyways, but especially that the inspector was there to document it just gave us a little extra teeth in that negotiation, if you will. So I always, always, always recommend to have a home inspection, regardless of if it's a new build or an existing home. Another good buddy of mine, a home inspector, was inspecting a new build, got up on the roof, and the entire row of ridge shingles, where it comes to a point here, that whole row was missing. And even the superintendent for the builder admitted, he was like, I never would have caught this, But the inspector climbed up there on the roof and found it, took the picture of it, put that in the report, and guess what? Got taken care of. So little things like that. Just keep in mind that even with new construction, it's there's a human element there. Nobody's perfect, and there's going to be mistakes made, corners cut. I strongly urge you, to get that inspection done, because then you have that nice punch list that you can hand over to the builder and say, all this needs to be addressed by the time we close. Nice. All righty, let's see here. Speaking of inspections, we talked a little bit about this before, but there's different schools of thought and different points at which you may consider getting an inspection, and you may consider getting multiple. Pre-drywall will be exactly what it sounds like. You've got mechanicals in, you've got framing done, but you don't have the walls up yet. So with a traditional home inspection on an existing home, your inspector can't see through walls. They don't know what's going on back there. They don't know if it's properly insulated. They don't know what they can't see. They can only make educated guesses based on signs, right? If there's evidence of maybe some previous moisture, they can check that out. They actually have tools where they can measure moisture to see if there might be an active leak within the wall. They have infrared tools that they can use to look at electrical receptacles and make sure that they are an appropriate heat. They make sure they're not, really running really hot, because that could be an indication of a potential fire hazard. So within, some limits, there's some things that they can do, right? A good inspector is going to have that stuff available to them. Make sure that yours does. But if you don't have the walls there, then how easy is it for them to check out all that plumbing and electrical that will be hidden inside the walls after the drywall installation? So that could be a good time to get it done. Keep in mind that there's a ton of things that they won't be able to test for you, appliances, that sort of thing. Those are the ones that you would done with your inspection prior to closing. Should be done about a week before closing, when the house is finished or almost finished. That's going to be pretty much like your standard inspection on a resale home. They're going to look everything top to bottom. They won't be able to see inside the walls like they could at pre-drywall, but at least they can test those things out. They can stress test your sinks, make sure that you're not having leaks underneath them. So pros and cons to each one of those. And then we talked about this with the home warranty, your post-closing inspection. Make sure you get one done right before your warranty is up. on the home. Yeah, cool. And then timing wise, make sure you have a plan and make sure you have a backup plan because as we have seen in 2022, this current crazy world that we live in, there are supply chain issues, labor shortages, everything, man, everything. So you can't just take it, for gold that, oh, it's going to be done in 9 months and I'm going to move in. Have a backup plan. If you're selling a home, do you have the option to do a short rent back if you need to? If not, do you have a um, friend or family member you can go into, put your stuff into storage, or a hotel, something like that, because things happen. So just be prepared with that. Or if you're in a lease, can you go month to month when it ends? That could be a great option too if you are working with a builder, so that you can have some flexibility there. And if there's just no way for you to have that flexibility on it, but you're still interested in a new build, your best bet may be to look at inventory homes. Again, there's not a lot of them out there. The best thing to do is to have a realtor that specializes, that has relationships with builders, so that when those opportunities do arise, that you can be among the first to know about it. Cool. Yes, that's kind of a high level overview of working with the builder. Let me do this right now and drop a link in here into the chat for the new build ebook. It's available on Amazon. I'm going to hook you up for free because you're awesome for watching this. Even if you're watching the recording afterwards, guess what? You're still awesome for checking out the content. So right there, that link, you can get yourself a copy of the ebook, or just shoot me a message afterwards and I'll attach a PDF and send you an email. Whatever's easiest for you. Cool. Oh, and on my same channel here, I have the same ebook available in audio format. You can just listen to it right on YouTube. So boom, there you go. Whatever you prefer. It's called If You Build It. I hope you guys got some good value out of this. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about while you have me here on the channel? Speak now, type now, or forever hold your peace, at least until next week, episode 14. We'll talk about some more real estate fun, because that's what we do here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. All right, guys, appreciate you so much. This is Joseph signing off. Thanks for checking it out, and I'll see you next time.